Hello.
Hey, all right. Um, we are going to go ahead and cast. Tesla is off doing supper stuff. You and her will be casting without me, although I will still be broadcasting for at least game two to give her some casting time because she was computer issues yesterday. So, are
Gotcha.
are you ready? What do you think about Silver versus Lyra?
I'm pretty excited to see this game. I think both players have fairly unusual styles, and I think on Scrap Station it's gonna just allow lots of different interesting play. So I'm pretty excited. I don't really know what Lyra's gonna do because Lyra has been known to go for ghosts and do all sorts of crazy play like that and go for bio. And Silver likes to go for bio instead of the Tank Viking Gridlock for TVT. So. With these close air distances, we might see a lot of drop play and a lot of Viking battles even in between the bases on Scrap Station. So I'm pretty excited to see how it's going to go.
And this is a best of five match here, so it's the first person to get to three wins during this series here. It's going to be excellent to see Silver and Lyra. I mean, Lyra had not a very difficult bracket, but neither did Silver. I mean, QXC was removed very early in the games, but after Silver beating out AJTLS last round and Lyra beating out Starlife last round, I mean, those are some really good players, and me not knowing much about Lyra, I think this is going to be an excellent game to watch. Like you said, Lyra has very interesting play. I mean, we saw some play by Lyra with those ghosts, taking a page out of what I believe was QXC's book. So it'll be interesting to see how these two players work around each other.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty excited. I guess Silver is probably AFK right now or something. Hopefully he didn't fall asleep because I know he's been playing in several tournaments very recently, including mine earlier this morning. And I know he's very tired. And he's been up late, and I don't know how much he's even been able to sleep. So hopefully that won't affect his play too much.
Yeah, how did your tournament go today?
That went pretty well. Kawaii Race took the win, and a Zerg player actually made it to the finals for the first time. Hasn't happened yet in my tournament. And that was actually Superior Wolf. But Kawaii Race 3-0'd him in the finals with some really nice Banshee Hellion play.
Excellent. It's nice to see other than Terrans in the finals. I mean, every tournament that I've run has been Terrans in the finals so far. Other tournaments that I've seen have been Terrans like massively overstated in like the top eight or the top four. So it's nice to hear about a Zerg being in the finals of at least one match, other than Idra, that is.
Yeah. Idra's never actually taken part in any of my tournaments. I think probably because the prize pool's a bit too small for him. But I've never personally invited him, so it'd be interesting to see how he would do. Looks like Silver's back.
All right, so here we go. And here we start the best of five finals: Silver versus Lyra, Terran versus Terran. Good luck to all.
So it looks like Lyra are going to be spawning at the right position as the pink Terran, and the left position we have Silver spawning as the green Terran. So, like I was saying earlier, I think we might see some play just revolving around dropships and Vikings simply because this air distance is so close, and it's really hard to use tanks and Vikings on this map. It's such a long rush distance. You can knock those destructible rocks down in the middle, which could lead to that kind of play, but that narrow choke is just so dangerous with siege tanks. I think it might scare both of these players a little bit away from doing that. I think we'll just see a lot of dropship play, but we'll just have to wait and see how it goes. What do you think these two players will probably do?
Well, Scrap Station is notorious for that very short rush distance via air. I anticipate that we're going to see some significant ground armies with a lot of harassment via dropships and possibly
And I can
DHG
see I am
rushes.
very slow.
Well, that's okay. We decided that we would have you and Wolf commentate game two without me. I didn't know when you would be back and they wanted to play, so.
No, that's fine. No problem. I completely understand.
All right. So as I was saying, I think we're going to see a lot of harassment via dropships and some really significant ground armies going through that the destructible rocks here and here and possibly you know, taking those out to do a massive ground rush at the same time as some air harass.
Yeah, there's lots of different opportunities with that ground force. Once those rocks get knocked down, it's really easy to get around and move around. But that choke point is so narrow and so dangerous. If you walk into that with a small force, your army's going to be all bunched up, and siege tanks are just going to do so much damage. So if siege tanks are positioned properly, it can really shut down the ability to. It looks like someone is lagging here, unless that is me.
That is indeed you.
Oh well, sorry about that. I guess if it happens again, I will leave. But anyway, as I was saying, I think that if siege tanks are positioned near those destructible rocks, it'll probably really shut down ground forces from using that area, and they'll have to be forced to go around. Could see some siege tanks in the clouds as well, near that natural expansion. You see that a lot, so that your opponent can't really easily fire on you.
Right, and an interesting note here is that Lyra had an SCV go into Silver's base, passing right by a Marine without the Marine doing any damage to it whatsoever. So Lyra got a perfect view of Silver's entire base, whereas Silver barely got a decent view of Lyra's base. I'm not sure if that's going to be any significance right now, but Silver just now taking out that SCV that was in his base.
Yeah, Silver, I think kind of almost, you might almost say sloppy about dealing with that SCV, allowing it to go into his entire base to see exactly what he's doing, whereas Lyra could be doing almost anything right now, and Silver wouldn't really know. It looks like Lyra actually might be throwing down a command center, so he did save up his money quite a bit, and there goes the command center, so he's going to be quickly expanding. I think realizing that the distance is so far, they'll be pretty easy to defend.
And on the opposite side, Silver going for what looks to be going to be a proxy factory. It looks like he's going to end up lifting that up and dropping it in Lyra's base, hoping to take advantage of that unexplored area in Lyra's base, possibly. I don't think there's enough room there to build a reactor when he decides to drop it, and I actually don't think there's enough room for him to drop the factory entirely. So it'll be very interesting to see what he does here.
Yeah, it looks like he's lifting off, just like you said, and I think he's going to try to go for it. But Lyra, being clever, putting his supply depots all around his base, he's going to be able to spot this no problem. I think Silver's going to have to transition big time into something different here, because when he does see this, he's going to be like, oh my goodness, I can't get away with this, and now my plan is spotted. And he's actually just going to continue to land it, and yeah, there he goes, lifting it up. I almost thought he was going to build a heli in there for a second, but his starport is up. And he did get some scouting information with that. He does see that there are some Marines, and he probably knows since there's only 2 Marines there, he's going to be like, oh, okay, well, he doesn't have that many forces, so maybe I can get away with some Banshee harass. And it's interesting to note, Lyra actually getting a Ghost out, and so I don't know how effective Ghosts are really going to be on this map without dropships. It's going to take so long to get across the map, and there's going to be bunkers ready, and I don't know. I just don't think Ghosts can be very effective on this map.
And that is interesting. Silver's opting to try and pressure here. He wants to get that Hellion out to get some more scouting in Lyra's base. So he's going to either lose or come very close to losing that factory, and possibly the Hellion that comes out in an effort to try and just get some scouting, because he wants to know what is going on in Lyra's base.
Yeah, I think he feels fairly confident. He's even going to pressure with the drop as well. At the same time, he is bringing that dropship over with several Marines. And that one Ghost is going to be able to help hold it off with snipe. But the question is it going to be enough? The Marines are actually taking a lot of fire here. Actually, looks like Lyra didn't focus on those Marines right away, so he was continuing to focus on the factory. So those Marines got some free hits, and the dropship actually going to retreat now because the Ghost is just doing too much damage. Silver feeling like he probably needed to get out of there, and actually losing that factory might have been a little bit of a misstep. Probably could have pulled that out of there and possibly repaired it. But he is going to lose that factory, but it's okay because he already has a starport up, and he can throw down another factory. It actually looks like he's throwing down 2 more factories right now, so that's a bit interesting.
And Lyra, during that whole thing, actually had an SCV in Silver's base again, so he knows what's going on yet again in Silver's base. He scouted the 2 factories going down. He didn't scout the starport, but he knows that Silver has that starport, so he has a pretty good idea of what to expect at this point, having scouted those 2 factories.
Yeah, that's absolutely key. I mean, once you see those 2 factories, you can expect a lot of different mech units to be popping out. And I don't know exactly what Silver is thinking getting these 2 factories. I don't really think he can afford building units off of 2 factories on one base. Very easily, it's going to be very, very difficult. And Lyra, on the other hand, already has an expansion up, and he's starting to get it saturated. And it looks like It looks like he is throwing the missile turret up in the middle so that he can deny the drops, but it looks like the drop's going to occur right before the missile turret goes up. Marine's going down, Marauder coming out. One Marauder versus all these forces with the medevac. Medevac is taking a little bit of damage from that turret, but it's going to be okay. Turret going to go down, and the Ghost's going to arrive to try to help out, but the Marines are going to jump into that medevac and get out of there.
Yeah, very, very effective drop by Silver there, forcing the SCVs and the mules that were there starting to saturate to go back to the main, effectively denying that Expo from getting up and running until Silver's own Expo is, I mean, the saturation is just about done already. So very, very effective drop there by Silver.
Yeah, he's just constantly keeping the pressure on, and he gained some scouting information. Like, he's constantly finding out that his opponent's army is not that large. He wasn't able to see the entire army, but I think he's getting a good idea of what he's up against. He's knowing, okay, he's continuing to produce ghosts, and he's getting 2 tanks out now. He does have siege mode already, and that tank army against the small bio composition that Lyra has is just going to hold it off very, very easily. I think Silver going to be able to hold on to this base no problem. It looks like he's even in economy, so I think he's in great shape.
And Silver had that Marauder at the Xel'Naga watchtower, so he knows that this small bio force is pushing at this point, and he decided to put a tank up on that ledge, going to be able to take some free pot shots before they get out of range. Very, very effective by Silver, knowing that push was coming.
Yeah, that was absolutely beautiful play by Silver, and he's even going to get a few shots off on his army as retreating. Lyra trying to push in here, do some damage with his ghost, but he's losing a lot of his troops right now. Silver's tank just getting so many free hits, doing so much damage. It's not kill. It only got 5 kills, but it did so much splash damage that most of these units are very, very injured.
Yeah, both Marauders they're sitting at 27 health, both of the 2 that are in red. And that Ghost also is sitting at 37, almost killing those 3 units as well as the units that it actually did kill. So very effective play by Silver, both on the initial drop and then on having that Marauder at that Xel'Naga watchtower to see the counter push coming right at him.
Yeah, that Marauder was absolutely key. He was able to position that tank just in time. Even if he didn't position it, I think it would have been a good position, but because he had that tank there, that tank took absolutely no damage and did so much damage. It was just absolutely incredible how much damage Lyra was able to take from that one tank. It looks like a drop is going to occur in the back of Lyra's base. A lot of Marauders, and a tank. Not enough. I think that even trying to build a bunker, that was a bit silly. I think Silver needs to retreat, and it looks like that is what he's going to do. He's not going to lose too many forces there. But that was close call.
I think that was a very, not necessarily over-eager, but I think it was a good idea to try and drop the bunker while he was pushing, because if Lyra was not able to get there in time, then that bunker would have just made things that much more difficult for Lyra to deal with. So I think that was actually a very good play by Silver. And if you didn't notice, there is a fusion core in the back of Silver's base and a battle cruiser on the way out.
Wow,
so we are going to see battle cruisers.
That's a great transition against the kind of army that Lyra has. Lots of Marauders, lots of ghosts, and the ghosts just don't do that much damage. They only do about 11 damage per shot, and against a battle cruiser, that's not really going to help. And even if they're cloaked, it's just really ghosts are just absolutely useless against battle cruisers, and Marauders, of course, cannot fire upwards. So battle cruisers are a great transition against a strong bio army that Lyra has. I mean, tanks are great and all, but bio armies don't really power through them sometimes, but if you have battlecruiser support, it's just really, really hard because battlecruisers can just get so many free hits. And I think that's a great choice. And I'd like to ask you what you would think about bringing Lockdown back into this game as an ability for Ghost, because I think that might change a lot of how Terran versus Terran goes. Being able to lock down tanks might completely change the matchup. What do you think about that?
I think that Lockdown was a very, very awesome ability in StarCraft 1. I think it was underused in some of the games that I played. Now, mind you, I stopped playing StarCraft 1 just as the ladder that Blizzard had in StarCraft 1 started getting overrun by cheating. So I haven't played StarCraft 1 in a very long time. But when I was playing, I know that Lockdown was underused, and it was a very, very good ability that people just didn't seem to use while I was playing. That being said, if it was brought into StarCraft 2 at this point, I think it would add such a great dynamic to the way the game, TVT specifically, is played, that I don't see why they wouldn't. I really don't see why they wouldn't. I think it would be a great addition to the game. I think it would add so much depth to what Terran versus Terran games can actually be.
I agree. It looks like Looks like this battlecruiser is going to do tons of damage. These dropships trying to go over here and drop on top of this heat tank. I don't know if they're going to be able to. The battlecruiser almost killing it, but not quite able to. Nice drop by Lyra, but it's just not going to be enough. There's just too many Marauders by Silver, and all of his Marauders are taking damage by the battlecruiser. Battlecruiser up to 5 kills, just killing, doing tons of damage to several different units, and Lyra calls GG.
Very, very excellent game. That battle cruiser was a very, very great transition by Silver at the most opportune time there. So, congrats to Silver on pulling out game 1 of this best of 5 series.